Since the announcement of the big March champion rebalance, I have had so many comments, emails, tweets, you name it, asking, which character should I rank up? Which character should I D-rank? And the very kind of flat and standard answer to that is nobody knows. Nobody will know for certain until the release date of that patch, and then we can start playing around with the champions, and maybe in like a week's time we'll have like a fairly decent idea of what are some of the really good characters in the update and which ones are maybe not so good in comparison. So if you want solid rank up advice, wait until like a week after the update. That is my best piece of advice that I can give you, because right now nobody, despite saying that they might have the information, actually has accurate information on whether champions are going to be good or not. We have no idea how they scale the new stats, so we're going to have to wait and see. And that's the very basic answer to that question, is hold all your rank ups, hold all your awakening, because the Marvel Contest of Champions in a week and a bit might be a very, very different game to what we have at the moment. With that in mind, a lot of you have also requested that I do kind of a prediction video on like 10 characters that I believe that after the update are going to be really, really good and valuable characters to have, and also maybe fully max out. But again, it's very hard to tell. This is just going to be a very loose prediction video based on kind of the information that we have at the moment. Everything is subject to change, but I wanted to give some early thoughts and kind of highlight characters that have specific utility that is going to help you deal with some of the more difficult content in the game. Granted, I still believe there is like some BS in the game. There is some stuff that none of these characters can fully bypass, and when it does come to launch of this new patch, if that isn't fixed, then I will be kind of challenging and addressing that directly. However, there are a few nodes and a lot of kind of places in gameplay where these champions can bypass certain things. So let's get talking about them. So the first one already is an amazing champion, and if you've been playing Marvel Contest of Champions as well, you'll know that Captain America is one of the best champions in the game, and I don't think this update is really going to change that at all. What makes Captain America and Captain America World War II so strong is the increased block proficiency, and I think even with the update they're going to have like a level above block proficiency everybody else. I think they're going to still be able to perfect block. I believe that's still going to be in the game, and plus the bleed on the Captain America World War II is going to be really, really valuable in, I believe, the next tier of the game. So I think Captain America, you're pretty safe with that champion. I don't think much is going to change in regards to Captain America. Now, the second champion on this list is Crossbones. So Crossbones, for some people, like, we talk about him a lot on the channel. Like, I love Crossbones. There's so much creative stuff that you can do with him, but I think there are certain uses in particular that are going to make Crossbones really, really good. And the first one is the champion doesn't crit. So for any of the spike nodes chapters and kind of nodes that you have to deal with that have spiked armor, Crossbones is going to be amazing for that, because he's the only champion now, well, in the future state of the game, that I believe is going to 100% counter that from the get-go, because he doesn't crit. Instead of critting, he gains a stack of fury. And that's the second really valuable thing about Crossbones, is that I still think it's going to be possible with the right team synergy to build him to kind of really, really focus on the critical hit chance of the character, giving him loads of stacks of fury and allowing you to bypass a lot of defensive ability accuracy reduction on the opponent, if not 100% of it in some scenarios. However, obviously the problem for that is in stuff like Alliance War and Alliance Quest Map 6, he doesn't initially do it from the get-go. It does require a bit of ramp up and a bit of a team synergy around, but I think for Act 5 and questing in general, he's going to be a very, very powerful character. So I'm going to wait and see what they do with Widow exactly and kind of what challenges we have in Act 5, but I think Crossbones is probably on my list to maybe switch out with Black Widow. But then we go into the second champion, who I might also might take that place, and that champion, let's just go to the skill tree, is Elektra. Now, Elektra, very, very powerful damage dealing champion at the moment. She's kind of an alternative to Black Widow and Crossbones, but she relies on being able to debuff the opponent. So whenever the opponent is debuffed, has any negative effect on them, they gain minus 85% ability accuracy. And that's just on an unduped Elektra. So it's a very, very powerful champion right from the get-go. But obviously the problem with Elektra is you need to be able to debuff the champion, and in certain quests and stuff, Crossbones and Black Widow are heavily favored characters because they don't need to rely on debuffing the champion. But I think with the update, I think Elektra might be the best skill champion. I'm not too sure about that but I think she's looking really, really promising. Really loved character endgame, very, very powerful, especially if you've got it awakened. I believe every hit below 25% health is a guaranteed critical, so that has an amazing synergy with the assassination mastery. So I think Elektra could possibly be one of the best characters come the new update. I have very high hopes for her. And then obviously, well, maybe not obviously to some of the new players, I think Gwenpool is going to be a really, really strong character. But I get that Gwenpool isn't kind of a widely available champion at the moment because she's only released kind of a month and a bit ago. But in a couple months time actually, she's going to be added to the premium and 4-star hero crystals. And then a couple of months after that, she's going to be available as a 4-star champion in Arena. But Gwenpool, when awakened, is going to be, alongside Crossbones, like one of the only champions that can guarantee 100% defensive ability accuracy reduction. So when she's awakened, where for every combo that she has, it's a -2% ability accuracy reduction. So providing you get it to a 50+ combo, kind of on maybe some of the longer fights, if you need it to counter like a regen or something like that, she might be really, really valuable for that. So I'm excited to see a little bit more of Gwenpool. Plus her damage is amazing. She's a power lock on level 2, armor break on the level 3, which again synergizes really, really well with the bleed. So I'm interested to see, you know, with the updated stats, is she still going to be this amazing, amazing character? But I have really high hopes for Gwenpool in the future of the game. I think she's going to be a very solid character, and I'm looking forward to when she's kind of more widely available to the community. Now, the next champions that we move on to are 2 from the Mutant class. So the first one, I think, is X23. I think X23 is going to be such a great champion come the update, because with her, what is it, awakened ability, she gains like a really solid amount of additional crit. She already has like amazing damage, just synergizes really, really well with deep wounds, which the masteries aren't being changed. So I think X23 is going to be really, really good for that reason, just because she's an incredible offensive champion, a crazy amount of burst, and does have a little bit of regen. I don't think her regen is going to be affected too much by the update. So I think for a lot of players, she's going to be a really decent option for Alliance Quest still, because she gets fights done really, really quickly between like every fight. You can maybe regain it like quite a bit of health if you're playing really, really well as well. So I do have really high hopes for X23 in the update. I think she's going to shine quite brightly. But the next character in the Mutant class is Storm. Storm is an amazing character. She's so, so powerful. We did a champion of the day on Storm fairly recently. So for when she's awakened, for the amount of opponent's power, she deals like an incredible amount of increased damage. She has quite a fairly reliable stun. It's not 100%, but it's a really decent chance to proc on both her level 1 and level 2 and level 3. So I think Storm is going to be a really, really fun and hard-hitting champion come the update. And I think, yeah, she's going to be really good. She's going to be really good. I think there's going to be a lot more value in Storm now. She's already being used by some of kind of the top tier players that didn't have Star-Lord to clear Labyrinth of Legends. So I'm interested to see, you know, how much people value her a little bit more after some of the god tier champions are brought down a little bit. I think it's going to be very intriguing to watch that transition. Now, we move over to the Mystic class, where we have some of the most fun utility champions, and my kind of thoughts on those. So we have 3 champions in the Mystic class that I think are going to be they're already really good, but I think with the next update they're just going to shine even more, because you know, the problem with a lot of Mystic characters at the moment is they're not Scarlet Witch, and having kind of that power level taken away from Scarlet Witch, we start to look at other characters and their utility and what they can do in a little bit more detail. Now, the first character in terms of utility is the Ghost Rider. He is an absolutely phenomenal champion, and there are so many different ways that you can play him with his judgments, but basically the idea is that pretty much everything he does, like special 1, special 2, heavy attacks, certain combos, does some sort of judgment effect, and then the one that you do following after that is like double effectiveness. And he has stuff like, he's a regeneration on his heavy attack, he has a really strong bleed, a fury buff, a power lock, a power drain, and a fate seal. So all of that stuff you can work in different ways to maybe get some more regeneration on one fight, some more damage on another. to increase, you know, the strength of the power drain and increase the duration of the power lock. So I think there's some very interesting stuff that can be done with Ghost Rider that people aren't necessarily looking into at the moment, and I think he's going to be a really, really good champion come the update. I think he's already like a pretty good champion, but he's very complicated. He's by far the most complicated champion to get a grasp on, but once you do, he's a very fun and satisfying character to play. So Rise of the Ghost Rider, I might be a little bit excited for that. And the second character is Magic. So Magic, absolutely love Magic so much. This is a character since the update that's really grown on me. I think in terms of Alliance War defense, it really depends how kind of a Limbo is scaling. Like if her Limbo doesn't scale as aggressively, she might be reduced quite a bit as a defender. However, as an attacker, the fact that she has Power Lock, a really nice kind of like chunk power drain with that Power Lock on a level 2, has Limbo to avoid taking, you know, damage in certain portions of the fight, and also has the very powerful Nullify and deal additional damage on a special free. I think there's some really, really interesting stuff that can be done with Magic, well, already at the moment, but going forward, I think that use of the character is going to be even more highlighted, and she's going to be an exceptional utility weapon. Come Act 4, I reckon. I'm really confused. I want to see, like, again, how bad. I think the Scarlet Witch nerf is going to be pretty bad, but I want to kind of get a feel for it on the first few days of playing the game. But I'm really tempted, you know, on the first day to probably rank down my Scarlet Witch and get up my Ghost Rider in place of that. And Ghost Rider is now available on the Premium Hero Crystals from 4-star, and will be coming to the arena very soon as the basic champion. And then finally, we have a Mystic character, which I don't currently have at the moment. It's Dr. Voodoo. I think Dr. Voodoo is going to be such a great... He already is like a really, really great champion, but in the light of the new update, regen at the start of the fight, guaranteed, so that's going to be very good for kind of moving throughout, like maybe Alliance Quest, Alliance War, and also questing in general. The Nullify on the level 1, and the fact that he can convert like enemy buffs into poison, which, you know, has amazing synergy with the Despair Mastery. I think Dr. Voodoo is just going to be a crazy, crazy good champion in the light of the new update. In kind of, you know, the whole power spectrum of the game, I think he's going to be right up there with one of the best champions. So, in terms of my 5-stars, like, at the moment, I've about just over 30,000 5-star shards, so I'm leaning toward going for a 5-star Dr. Voodoo. Like, the champion, kind of, he needs to be duped to be, like, super, super amazing. You'll get a lot more poison damage and a lot more regen that way. However, unduped, I still think he's a pretty good champion, so we'll probably go for that, and eventually, you know, via maybe Act 5 or another Dimensional Rift, hopefully we get the opportunity to awaken him. But yeah, I really want to try for Voodoo as a 5-star, unless like one of the new X-Men comes out and is absolutely crazy. I think we're probably going to end up going for Dr. Voodoo. And the final champion that we're going to talk about, who I think is going to have some pretty decent value, is Rocket Raccoon. Rocket Raccoon is already an amazing glass cannon champion, but I think with kind of the way that they're fiddling about with all the stats and changing them from percentage and flat rate, I think it's going to be a little bit harder to crit for kind of the average champion, and the fact that Rocket Raccoon, I believe with his signature ability, is still going to have a guaranteed critical hit chance of 100% when you get him to like over a 20 combo, I think that's going to be really, really powerful in the update. I feel like he's already like a really big glass cannon champion, but the risk versus reward is just gonna, the reward's gonna go like up and up. It's still the same risk. Like Rocket Raccoon is such a flimsy champion, and if you do make like many mistakes, you're going to be really punished hard for it. But I think the reward in the, you know, comparative spectrum of power and after the update, I think it's going to pay off a lot more for playing a champion like Rocket Raccoon when it comes to difficult content. So I'm excited to see that character. But anyway, that's just some very early predictions on kind of 10 champions that I think are really going to shine after the update, and champions that I feel like are going to be good now, but are going to be even better in kind of the whole spectrum of the game after the March update. It's a big change, a lot to adjust to, but we're not going to know for certain. None of this is certain at all until the update drops on the 1st of March, and we can kind of see the new stats for every character. We can play around with kind of how they scale with every character. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that it's going to create a bit more of a competitive and fun version of Marvel Contest of Champions. Just they need to address some of the BS. And like I'm sure they're fully aware what the BS is. But if not, then we'll definitely be lobbying for that to get addressed. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it gave you some sort of an insight into what champions might be pretty good after the update, but regardless of which, when the update does drop, we'll be like non-stop player Marvel contested champions for several weeks, and updating my tier list and doing loads of videos for that stuff. So yeah, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, if you like the content, if you smash that subscribe button, that'd be greatly appreciated. Apart from that, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the insight. Take care and have an absolutely fantastic day.